You know, every once in a while, the internet conjures up a matchup that is so bizarre, so completely out of left field, you just have to ask, what is going on? Well, today, we're diving headfirst into one of those weird, wonderful corners of fandom. We're going to piece together the posts, the characters, and the comments that created this wild rivalry between two worlds that absolutely could not be more different.
Okay, let's just address the question head on, because it's a weird one. This is what's driving all those fan edits, all those forum threads. So you've got Pridey, a fabulous, confident icon from a web series. And in the other corner, you have Giblet, this tormented, literally inside-out monster from a horror game. What in the world do these two have to do with each other? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of why everyone is so fascinated. I mean, you couldn't invent two characters that are more polar opposite. One is all about outward expression, about fashion, about social games. The other is a creature completely defined by physical pain and a desperate, gritty fight to survive. It's a total clash of aesthetics, of themes, of entire universes.
All right, first things first. To really get this whole showdown, we need to meet our first contender, Giblet. And his story isn't straightforward. It's been carefully pieced together by fans from little in-game clues and a whole lot of creative thinking.
Check this out. This comment from a fan on Reddit really just nails the whole tragic backstory that the fandom has built for Giblet. See, it's not just about some random monster. It's about a character who was brutally punished for doing the right thing, forced into this horrifying new identity so no one would even know who he used to be.
So the official description says his skin is turned inside out. And you gotta understand, this isn't just some random scary monster design. The lore suggests this was done to him. It's a permanent, visible scar from the pain he went through, all at the hands of the game's big bad, the prototype.
And when you look at his actual profile, the picture it paints is of someone who's been through the ringer but is somehow still standing. He's physically broken, right? He needs a cane, he's got an eye patch. And even though he's still hopeful deep down, he's got these major confidence issues, always insisting he's not a hero, even as he's actively resisting this evil tyrant.
And this is where the fandom really went to work. They've combed through all the in-game clues, the little notes, the recordings, and they've pieced together this heartbreaking timeline. It all suggests that his entire monstrous look is a direct punishment for his heroism. And that identity crisis, where he literally can't look at himself and calls his old self trash, that just adds this whole psychological layer that fans have really connected with.
So what does this all add up to? Well, it leads to this really powerful fan theory, that Giblet is on a tragic hero's journey. Fans aren't just seeing a monster, they're analyzing every little detail to predict this final, epic, heroic sacrifice. In their eyes, Giblet is the ultimate survivor, maybe even destined to be a martyr.
All right, let's hit the brakes and do a complete 180. We are leaving that dark, creepy factory far behind and stepping into the bright, dramatic, and chaotic world of an animated reality show to meet Pridey.
And this post I found on Reddit, it is the perfect way to start talking about Pridey. Am I wrong for liking Pridey? That question tells you everything you need to know. Liking this character is complicated. Some fans absolutely live for them, while others have some pretty big issues with how they're portrayed. So who is Pridey, officially? Well, get this. Pridey is literally a pride flag. They're from an animated genre called object shows, where inanimate objects have big personalities and compete against each other. But the other crucial piece of the puzzle is their show Level Up. It was so messy behind the scenes that it got rebooted over and over before just getting canceled, leaving all its characters kind of stuck in limbo.
I mean, just look at this profile. Pridey is designed to be loud, proud, and unapologetically extra. They're a social butterfly, a fashion designer, and they are not afraid to bring the drama. Everything from their official label as the fanboy to those signature teal high heels is about confidence and performance.
But, and this is a big but, there was some drama. A former writer on the show dropped this comment and it revealed this major conflict going on behind the scenes. See, there was a push to make Pridey a more nuanced character, but apparently the creator wanted to lean into a more stereotypical, flamboyant personality, and that decision has definitely rubbed some people the wrong way.
And yet, even with all that controversy, if you actually watch the show, Pridey is so much more than that. This one quote says it all. In a tense moment, they look a rival dead in the eye and say that. It shows they're strategic, they're confident, and they're powerful. They were a loyal friend and a sharp competitor, and that's why, despite everything,
Pridey became a huge fan favorite.
Okay, so we've got the traumatized survivor and the controversial icon. What on earth happens when their two worlds collide?
I mean, just look at this. It is the ultimate showdown of opposites. You have indie horror versus high fashion. You have a literal fight for survival against the tyrant versus, competing on a reality show. Fans see one as a tragic, reluctant hero and the other as this sassy, controversial strategist. The contrast is it's perfect creative fuel for the internet.
Okay, so what is really going on here? Why these two? Why are fans so obsessed with mashing these two specific characters together in video edits and who would win debates?
Well, at its heart, what you're seeing is a classic fandom crossover. It's this amazing thing fans do where they basically become the storytellers. They take characters they're fascinated by, they pull them out of their own worlds, and they smash them together to see what new stories and ideas might shake out.
So the reason this matchup works isn't because it makes any logical sense. It's all about that creative spark. It's that jarring visual of body horror right next to high glamour. It's the fascinating idea of pitting a character whose identity was violently taken from them against a character who wears their identity like a badge of honor. And this is a huge one, both of their stories are unfinished. That leaves this massive creative playground for fans to jump in and ask, well, what if?
And of course, all of this leads to the one big question, the one that every single one of these fan edits is really asking. Setting aside all the themes and aesthetics, if these two actually threw down, who would walk away the winner? But you know what? Maybe that's not even the right way to think about it. The endless debate isn't actually about finding a real winner. The whole point of a Pridey versus Giblet showdown isn't the final answer. It's the fun, creative, wild act of asking the question itself.
When you get right down to it, this super unlikely matchup is a perfect little snapshot of what modern fandom is all about. It's a place where a character's story is never really finished, where the audience can pick it up and remix it into something new. It just proves that sometimes the most interesting stories aren't the ones we're told, but the ones we make ourselves, just by smashing two completely different worlds together to see what happens.